Everybody, my name is Lowell and welcome to the channel. So we're continuing our journey of football stadiums here on the channel. So we're going to do FBS Independents College Football Stadium. I don't know what FBS stands for, but anyway, let's jump in. Let's have a look at this one, shall we?
You've probably heard the phrase too cool for school, but what about a school that's too cool to be put in a pool? And by pool I mean conference, but that doesn't rhyme, you see. Anyway, here are the stadiums of the independent FBS teams.
Okay.
Aggie Memorial Stadium, home of the New Mexico State Aggies.
Ah.
Straight away you'll
Wow,
notice
look
the
how
unique design
sunken
where
that
the
is.
earth goes all the way to the top of the city,
Yeah.
despite there being two tiers of it. You don't see that too often, and it
Another
was an
team
interesting
called
choice
Aggies.
considering
Okay.
it's a fairly arid climate, meaning that the grass isn't always in the best of shape. But that's not the grass that matters.
I
That
know, look at
grass
it. It looks
is
pretty
artificial.
green.
I noticed that behind the north end zone there's an array of plants in lieu of a grass berm.
Ah.
Kinda wish they did that for the entirety of the exterior. That definitely
Yeah,
would
that's
have been one
really
of a kind.
sunken, isn't it?
This building here looks like it's straight out of Miami Beach. Oh yeah, cool little stadium.
Okay. Wow.
Marquee Stadium,
Oh,
home of
West
the Army Black
Point.
Knights. It's a stadium that's held in very high regard.
Okay.
And that's partially due to its location in the beautiful leafy
Wow,
surrounds
look
of the
at the
West Point
colours in
Military
those
Academy
trees.
on the Hudson River. But the body of water that you see right there is actually a reservoir,
Oh.
not the river itself. Nonetheless, water is water.
That's right.
The campus itself looks
Wow.
incredible, and I wish the entire stadium's
Wow, it looks like a
exterior was built in
castle.
that same style. That would have been epic.
West
It's
Point,
not,
okay,
but
the
there
military
are a couple
one.
of nods to that style of architecture. And considering the team are called the Black Knights, it's quite fitting.
Okay.
Yeah, this stadium deserves this reputation.
They're called
Beautiful.
the Black Knights. That's a cool name.
Lavelle Edwards Stadium, home of
Utah.
the BYU Cougars. This stadium's
Okay.
design is slightly unusual in that it's like many bowl stadiums that you'll see, just with empty corners. And of course, it's not a bowl. All the stands are separate.
Yeah, they're all kind of
The
separate.
exterior is very bare bones. It's just exposed steel and concrete for the most part. But that's not the stadium's strength. I often talk about the view that spectators can enjoy from
Oh,
their
they got the
seats.
mountains?
But Lavelle Edwards Stadium is all about the view. I guess they've kept the stadium rather simple,
Oh, yeah.
so you don't get
Wow.
distracted from the spectacular
Wow.
mountains that make up the backdrop.
We don't have
Particularly
mountains
if
like
you're
that
sitting
here.
on the
Wow,
western side.
that's impressive.
Stunning. Find me a stadium in Utah that doesn't have a stunning backdrop, and I'll give you $10,000. For legal reasons, I have to point out that I'm referring to 10,000 Zimbabwean dollars, converted into US dollars, which is less than 1 cent.
Wow,
I'll
they
have to round that down.
currencies like. So that's Brigham Young. Okay.
Notre Dame Stadium.
Okay.
Or Notre Dame
Okay.
Stadium. Tomato.
Not Notre Dame.
Who
Okay.
says tomato? I do. But at least I don't say
We say
potato.
tomato.
That's just weird. It's home of
Wow,
the
the
Notre
front of it
Dame
looks like
Fighting
it's kinda
Irish. Definitely the most well-known
Under
independent
construction.
team. The design
What's
shares
this?
some similarities with college football's biggest stadium, Michigan Stadium. But it's a lot
Okay.
more built up, it's not sunken into the ground, and it's much more beige. But one thing that sets it apart even further is that it's the only stadium in the world with its own personal touchdown Jesus.
Touchdown Jesus.
But I think the Iranians
Yep.
have copied that though, because they all seem to have their own personal touchdown Ayatollah. And of course the North Koreans have their own touchdown Kim. But that actually predates
I
the
don't
touchdown
think that's
Jesus.
correct.
Oh, and I should mention that those initial shots were taken during construction. This is
Okay,
what it
so
looks like
that's
now.
what. Okay. Okay, that makes more sense now. Okay.
Pratt and Whitney Stadium, home of the Yukon Huskies.
Oh, Connecticut.
Well, I think it more often goes by the name Rentschler Field.
kind
It
of.
was the name of the airfield that the stadium was built on.
Ah,
which
that's a soccer
belonged
pitch
to
as well.
Pratt and
Okay.
Whitney, a company that makes these things.
Ah.
It's the newest stadium in this conference. The newest independent stadium. It's not in a conference.
No, that's right.
And it's fairly apparent. It just looks very cutting edge, literally speaking. How the seating is at sharp angles.
Yeah, it's kind
And
of.
how the upper deck comes to a point in each corner.
Yeah.
Much like Arrowhead Stadium. I like it. But it still remains a fairly simple stadium.
Okay.
There's not much to the exterior for the most part. But it's a fine stadium. and you can't take that to the bank. Really? Do you think anybody's gonna get a laugh out of that? I just thought of it then.
Don't do an American
you can't
accent.
Take
It's
that to the
terrible.
bank. Some things are just better off left unsaid. All right. Okay.
That's
Good.
a terrible accent.
Warren McGurk Alumni Stadium, home of the UMass Minutemen.
Okay.
It's the smallest of the Independents and one of the smallest FBS stadiums.
Oh.
You may have noticed the strange concave shape behind each end zone.
Yeah.
I'm not sure
what's
why they did that either.
going on with that? Kind of
Unlike
pointing
many
the wrong
stadiums
way.
where the seating is sunken into the ground, here it's quite the opposite.
Yeah.
The lowest of the seating is elevated above the field by, I'd say, a good 12 feet. The design was like that to begin with, but they sunk the field further into the ground to accommodate more seats.
Okay.
But other than that, it's just two of the same stands on each side, nothing but a video board behind one end zone and a training center behind the other, which looks quite good, and its convex shape is a perfect fit.
Yeah, I guess it does.
Williams Stadium, home of the Liberty
Lynchburg.
Flames.
25,000. Okay.
Firstly, since these shots were taken, the stadium has changed quite drastically, and I'll get to those changes soon. But the western stand has remained the same, which is good because it looks great. Particularly the exterior, which backs onto the mini track and soccer stadium. The other side has since become a double-decker stand, and they're also planning on making it a complete horseshoe behind the south end zone, which is currently a grass berm, albeit artificial grass. And those were the FBS Independents stadiums.
I mean, there's not a lot,
If you enjoyed
obviously.
the video, please consider subscribing.
The only one that I actually knew was independent was Notre Dame, because that's come up in conversations before. So there's not a lot, obviously, but there is obviously a few. So the one at West Point looked fantastic. I love the look of actual West Point College. As I said there, kind of looked like some castle up in the hill, and that was really nice. That was a really nice one. But interesting, some of the stadiums as well too. So that first one was really sunken into the ground with the earth all the way up to the top of the tiers as well. Very interesting. And then obviously Notre Dame. As I said, it kind of looked like it was under construction, and confirmed it there. So that was very interesting. Very interesting for the independents, not in a conference. So much smaller. Some of them are obviously much smaller stadiums as well too. So, but I thought we'd do that one. We're continuing our journey with college football here. So I am loving the journey so far. So definitely more to come. So guys, thank you very much for joining me today. Make sure you stay safe, and I will definitely see you in the next reaction video. Did you enjoy that video? Why not watch another one?